Randomizers are always a great way to spice up a replay of a Pokemon game. You never know who you're going to get for your next encounter. It could be a Dialga, or it could be this. That's right, folks. I've randomized Pokemon Scarlet, and today we're going to try and beat a hardcore nuzlocke of it. I've randomized wild Pokemon, trainers Pokemon, as well as our own Pokemon's abilities for an added flair. All that being said, go ahead and subscribe if you do enjoy this video, and like the video as it does help out the channel a ton. And let's get started on our journey in a randomized world of Pokemon Scarlet. I hope you guys like how random I made my character. I didn't even know I could make my eyes that color. It's honestly sad how much customization they give you, but then you can only choose between 4 school outfits? So much for exploring the region how I want, director. Well, I don't think they have hair color restrictions at Naranja Academy, so I think I'm fine. Now, these guys don't appear to be random at all, so what's up with that, director? You promised me random Pokemon. Is this some kind of screwed up joke, Clavel? Okay, I guess our starters are really going to be random. I have no idea what the 3 are, so let's just go with Coco since he never lets us down. Okay, he let us down. Alright, I guess the randomizer didn't randomize the starters, but it's okay, I have faith. Alright, it's time for our first encounter and our true first starter. Okay, what kind of sick joke is this? Medicham does not have the same stats as Lechonk. Oh wow, it's actually a Spitops. So for our first encounter, I just chose this random Medicham and caught one in the ball as it's the first thing I saw. I'm assuming it's 100% catch rate in Pokepath. I named her Uraraka, peeped the name theme. You get 1000% shiny luck if you guess it. She had Psychic Terra type along with a bottle cap? Nice! And let's see her ability. Liquid Ooze. Could be useful, but to be honest, Uraraka is definitely going to be benched eventually without Pure Power. Okay, I didn't realize I have some of the same colors as Koraidon. That just happened to work out. In Inlet Grotto, I found some Pokemon, but Mousehold caught my eye. And good thing too, it's a family of 3. I heard you guys were looking for a place to stay. I got a nice comfy Pokeball for you all. In exchange, you can help me take down Gita. I named them all for one, and they actually had Opportunist. Honestly, pathetic, Arvin. You've been to Area 0, and that's all you have? For our next route, I kind of wanted Garganacl. Oh hey, there's a Galarian Slowpoke. Yeah, I definitely don't think I can catch that right now. Oh, we're playing with fire right now. Thank God he missed. We ended up catching that Garganacl, and I named her Mount Lady. Nothing too special on her, except she likes honey. Well, Mount Lady, let's tower over our opponents, starting with Nemona. At first, she wasn't randomizing, which is why our first fight with her I didn't show since she just had a Sprigatito, but I've since fixed that, and now she has an Axew and a Torkoal, both of whom got body slammed by Mount Lady. Alright, I have no idea why, but the Torkoal was still Electric Terra type, and also had Pawmi's moveset, which is only Thundershock. I spent a couple hours trying to fix that, but I couldn't do it, so I guess everybody's ace is going to stay with the same moveset and the same Terra type, but on the bright side, this is probably better than them having a random Terra type, and them not having a move to take advantage of Stab. Either way though, it doesn't really matter, as I did fix this later with a different randomizer. You know, I've never noticed, director, but you are drip the fuck out. I need me a suit like that. Ladies and gentlemen, it is time for you to set out on an adventure of your own. But be careful, please. You might get mauled by a Koraidon if you're not careful. That is not a joke, by the way, students. Why is there always a Garganacl in my face? Do I smell or something? Alright, so since we got a really strong Pokemon, that being Garganacl, I love calling it that because I know it pisses some of you off in the comments. But yeah, I'm going to be doing something a little different for every encounter onwards. Basically, I'm going to be scouring every single area I come across. I'm going to do this for about 30 minutes. And then I'm going to gather all the names of the Pokemon that I see, and I'm going to put them in a wheel, and we're going to spin it. This way, it makes it, well, more random. For example, here in South Province number 2, we can get Bagons, Meryl, and even a Hisuian Weavile. Oh, and these 2 giants. That way, I don't just decide, hey, I want Giratina. Although, I wouldn't do that, because I probably can't catch it anyways. So hopefully it doesn't land on it. Alright, we spin our little wheel among these Pokemon, and Rollico Meryl. God damn it! Don't get me wrong, Azumarill is great, but remember, we have random abilities, so we're definitely not getting huge power. Alright, Misty Surge ain't too bad, I guess. I named him Yuga, and we got a nice Terra typing for Fairy to go along with that Misty Surge. Now we spin the wheel once more for South Province Area 3, and there wasn't anything crazy in this area, so we ended up getting a Barraskewda. And would you look at that? A Vigoroth just spawned. Oh well. Yeah, it's kind of impossible for me to, like, scour the area for every single Pokemon that could spawn, but I do make sure to get, like, at least 25. Oddly enough, this thing almost destroyed Uraraka, but thankfully a Thunder Punch did some damage and paralyzed, so I got into Mount Lady for free. From there, a Great Ball did it, and That was really scary. I named her Asui, which I shouldn't since she probably doesn't like that very much. Peep, if you know what I mean. And holy crap, she has Strong Jaw. That's amazing. This should be fun, as I've never used a Barraskewda. Now, Sue here is over the cap for the first gym, so I benched her, but we can see what Katie is handing us for dessert. I led All for One as she led Pommy. First thing I did was tidy up, but apparently this thing already has double kick, so that's scary. Regardless, I terrestrialized the next turn and hoped to hit a double hit. Of course, with my luck, we didn't. Come on. There's 3 of you and no one could hit the mouse? Alright, plan B. Yuga can come in here to charm, basically taking nothing from this thing. Once Katie's attack stat is through the ground, we can go into Uraraka on a struggle bug. After getting to +2, I tried to low kick, but it didn't quite do half, so we took a ton of damage by the time Uraraka took out Pommy. Fortunately, Kricketune came out next, or well I thought. See, a Thunder Punch did a half, which was fine, and we even got a para, but this thing crit Uraraka with its bug bite, meaning she's at a commission. When does a Kricketune ever best the Metachamp? In what world? How about you whoop these nuts, Kricketune? Oddly enough, her last Pokemon was actually a bug type. Now, as I explained before, this Masquerain will be Terra Bug, and I think it'll have the moveset of Terry Ursa, as I didn't fix this until later with a different randomizer. Yep, there it is, Fury Cutter. Of course, it doesn't really matter, as Mount Lady here can take it out with 2 Rock Tomb. We got very lucky for that first gym fight. And unfortunately, Kricketune bested my Metachamp. Yeah, you guys definitely aren't gonna let me forget that one. You know, there was an outbreak back in South Province 2 for Fuecoco, so I wanted to see if I could find a shiny, and on the way there, I saw this green little beach ball. So I guess Yuga is already going to be replaced. Ah, shiny Marrow is amazing. Now, unfortunately, it doesn't have Misty Surge, but instead, Cheek Pouch. Another unfortunate thing is you can't get Citrus Berries until Area 0. That is, if this wasn't a randomized playthrough. You see, Meryl actually holds Citrus Berries in this run, so we can actually farm them with Thief, giving Meryl a useful ability. Now, as I figured, the Titans would not be randomized, which is fine, but since this is just a cloth, Barraskewda easily takes care of it with Aqua Jet. Before taking on Brassius, I went to South Province 5, and after surveying the area, we spin our wheel. And Morgrim. Alright, not bad. I named him Shinso, and he actually had Steam Engine, which is pretty cool. Now, although Brassius does have random Pokemon, he does have a Shroomish, which is Brassius' typing. I tried All for One's Tidy Up strat again, but we got put to sleep, which sucked. I did manage to get to +3 and eventually Double Hit was a 2-hit KO. The next thing that came out was a Dartrix. Easy enough. I used Double Hit and I wanted to save Terrestrialization, but it looks like I should have Terrestrialized since this Double Hit almost killed. From here, a Thief can kill that, and oddly enough, a Flapple comes out with Download. Brassius has 3 grass types. What are the odds? Anyways, I Terrestrialize as this thing is very scary since it'll get double stab from Trailblaze, which is Sudowoodo's regular moveset, and it didn't end up KOing, meaning All for One has been vanquished. I'm sorry guys, the lease is over. Back to the streets with you all. Now, since Trailblaze gave him a speed boost, this is scary since 3 of my Pokemon are actually weak to water. However, this Flapple is borderline dead, and Shinso here has Fake Out. So one little Fake Out, and that's the battle. I'm definitely sad about Mousehold, but it's okay. At least our shiny Meryl is evolving. Now, before we fight Bombardier, we can catch another encounter in West Province 3. After about 30 minutes of surveying the area, we can take a spin and Siglazar. Alright, let's go catch one. It was a pretty easy catch, and he had battle armor, which is great. From here, I take on the giant bird, and I wasn't really worried. By terrestrializing and getting a big crit Rock Tomb, this Titan was a piece of cake for Mount Lady. It did have the ability to Defiant, but it still didn't matter. Pathetic. Holy shit, imagine seeing one of these in the wild. Unlike everyone else, my instinct is to touch it. Another thing that is my instinct is to touch this Wheel of Uncertainty. This time around for South Province 4, we ended up getting Hoppip. You may be thinking Hoppip is terrible, but I actually like this little guy. So I went off to find one. I named him Bakugo because we all know deep down he's a softie. He had minor armor for his ability. It'll probably change when he evolves. Alright, one level later and Flower Veil. Welp. I'm curious about how these Team Star bases are going to work out. My guess is they're going to be random, but not the Starmobile, obviously. Well, I'm correct on the random part. Hisuian Zorua. Pretty cool. Okay, maybe making it so that every trainer can terrestrialize was a bad idea. Now Giacomo can terrestrialize along with the Starmobile. Luckily, Asui can destroy the little guy in one shot. After that, the Starmobile is out, and I am assuming it's still the same old Starmobile we know and hate, as it still intimidated me. Knowing this, I hard switch into Mount Lady on a Metal Sound. This makes his Snarl the next turn do way more damage, as our Hammer Arm did less than I expected it would do. I did go for a Rock Tomb the following turn after he missed a big Snarl, and this was in case for later since it does lower his speed. Unfortunately, I accidentally clicked Terrasilize and he hit a Snarl, popping our Citrus Berry. I do think we can live one more, and we do, so I Rock Tomb doing about as much as Hammer Arm did. From here I go into Shinso, who can tank anything Giacomo throws at him. From here I get off 2 Confides to lower his special attack, and then hard switch into Deku, who can't be crit. Now we just Detroit Smash 3 times, using only 5% of our power for the win. Good job, young Midoriya. With our first Team Star Boss defeated, we can head to Levincia, but before we head into the city, we can scour once again. Oh look, a big Sabretooth just chilling. And this gal. No biggie. After taking note of what was in East Province 1, we spin our little wheel. Oh my god, it's gonna be a battle between starters. It's gonna be Froakie. It's Charmander. Wow, that was actually really close. What the hell ability is that? And who does it belong to? When I tell you guys this took me a million years to catch, I mean it. The darn little thing didn't want to get in the ball. Alright, it looks like whenever I catch a Pokemon that's not in the regular base game, meaning Charmander, which was released through raids, you can't actually catch them, which seriously blows. However, I can still battle them and see them in the wild, so instead of forfeiting the encounter entirely, I used PK Hex to get the Charmander, and it does in fact work that way. I have a Charmeleon in my party. I did randomize his IVs and nature, but what I can't do is give him the ability that Charmander had. However, since the abilities change every level, when I evolved him, he had a different ability. Photosynthesis, which is a paradox ability. However, since I'm very close to changing randomizers at this point in the game, that other randomizer is actually going to allow us to catch anything in the wild, no matter what. For some reason, the randomizer I was using was just very finicky, but the second one will allow us to catch Greninja, Hisuian Cyndaquil. We won't need PK Hex for it. But I was going to use PK Hex because what's the point of randomizing a game if I can't use the Hisuian forms or the Hoenn legendaries? Don't kill me. I named him Shoto, and he had a jolly nature, which I have no idea why it isn't showing up on the chart. Now, East Province 2 had pretty much the same encounters, but there were some exceptions like this Sandile and this Excalibur. But yeah, we spun the wheel again, and we ended up getting a Phalanx, which is pretty unique. It took me ages to find one again, but once I did, I encountered it and it had Delta Stream. I named it All Might, and he had a calm nature. Boo. I did put our shiny in the box since its new ability, since it evolved, was Klutz, so this thing was basically fodder now. Our next threat would be Iono, but of course we have to fight Nemona before that. Since Miss Fruitful here itches for a battle every second of every day, you know I figured it was only a matter of time before we saw a Pokemon with the Imposter ability. This Palmo just transformed into Asui. I did end up biting it as it crit, almost killing Palmo, and her bite, or I guess our bite, since it is Asui, popped our Citrus Berry. One more and Whiscash came out. This easily died to 3 bites as she thought it was a great plan to just amnesia on a physical attacker. Oh, Nemona. Her last Pokemon is Venomoth, and realizing she is going to Terrasilize into a Grass type and have Floragato's moveset, I go into Shoto. From here, a boosted Fire Fang does half, and how fitting that it has Toxic Debris. We did flinch next turn, but no worries as the following one destroyed her. Now, before taking on Iono, I realized something else was wrong with the randomizer. I realized it wasn't just the Ace's movesets leaders were copying, which is why that Whiscash had Amnesia, and also why that Pawmi in Katie's gym had Double Kick. I just figured Pawmi gets Double Kick, but it doesn't. No, every Pokemon on their teams were getting the movesets of the original Pokemon. I really did not feel like restarting the randomizer at this point to use the second randomizer I found, but thankfully I found this out during our third gym fight. I did play out Iono, which had a very easy team, so I knew I was going to win against her, but her Jolteon used Water Gun, so that's how I found out. It was just so out of the ordinary. However, like I've been saying, this is the moment where we switch into a new randomizer. And I updated my game so that we can actually catch other region starters as well as Galarian forms and Hisuian forms, without the use of PK Hex. That being said, I take on the new Iono. She starts off with a Kamala, and now it actually has a moveset that it would normally have by level up. So it uses Yawn as we bulk up. No way I could have prepared for Yawn except for looking up the moveset, but I didn't do that. But either way, we easily bulk up again, taking a big slam. Keep in mind we're at +2 defense, so that slam would have done way more without our boosts. We don't wake up the following turn and she pops our Citrus Berry. The same thing happens again and I'm beginning to get scared. But we do end up getting a Trailblaze off for a speed boost. After that, a Rock Smash can KO Kamala and Golduck wants to come out. I don't really feel like losing Phalanx, so I go into Shinso because this thing should have Zen Headbutt. I'm assuming since Rain was up, that's why she went for Water Pulse, which did confuse by the way. But with Rain no longer up, I swap in Deku on a disable. This way we just hammer away at this thing until she pops our Citrus Berry. One more quick attack and that's that. And next up is a Zamazenta! The good news about legendaries is their move pools usually suck early on. This thing should have Slash, Iron Defense, Howl, and Wide Guard. Knowing this, I go into Mount Lady. In case I can't take this thing down thanks to Iron Defense, I go for Assault Cure. From there, we tank Slashes all day and we start doing Chip as well as Assault Cure doing its thing. Oh, and by the way, this thing has the ability Magician, so she took my Citrus Berry. Eventually, this thing does get taken down. The worst was yet to come. And Annihilate. And since I used a different randomizer, this thing's Terra type should be completely different. Now, I kind of looked at all of our options here, and the only thing I can come up with is sacking someone. And the only one I wanted to sack was Mount Lady. So that's what I do, and would you look at that? This thing has a completely random Terra type, which actually saves us a bit. Asui has Ice Fang, and Annihilate is now a Dragon type. So with Ice Fang, with our Strong Jaw ability, and that does half as she misses a huge cross chop. There we have it. That was a scary team. But honestly, this is going to be way more exciting now. Okay, I think it's best to say that this randomizer is way better. I did evolve Bakugo to see what his ability would be as a jump bluff, but it wasn't special. Also, this randomizer is kind of weird. So each area does have its own unique Pokemon, I guess, but it seems to have a lot more Pokemon than the base game or the other randomizer in general. Every time I would enter an area and go back in, it would just have a different set of Pokemon. Versus the other randomizer where every little location where I would go to, it would have a certain set of Pokemon, like the base game. Because the encounters were constantly changing, I couldn't just survey an area and put them on the wheel. It would take way too long, and I might not even find the Pokemon that it lands on again. Or maybe I would, but it would take even more long. So it would be surveying the area for a long time and trying to find the Pokemon for a long time. So what I think I'm going to do is just look down at my desk or close my eyes, put a blind, whatever, and just let Arceus do its thing. And whatever I run into, I run into. I figure the best way to do this is to just set up a picnic in the middle of the area, close my eyes before exiting the picnic, pull up the menu so nothing runs into me, wait about 15 seconds for everything to spawn in, and just run around blind until I encounter something. Okay, this is harder than I thought. And on top of that, the first thing I encountered was a Grimmsnarl. Let's try again. Bro, this is just my luck. Okay, third time's the charm, and we run into this little guy. We just lost a rock type and gained one. I named her Jiro, and she has Symbiosis. Terrible. I was itching for some more Pokemon since it was pretty much of a surprise to me now. I found a Gumi, and it looks like this Salamence was mad I didn't run into him instead. Hello? I couldn't even see. Even though he was a boy, I named him after Mina, and he had Snow Warning. It'll be a while until it's a Grudra, so I'll have to find more Pokemon. What are you doing chasing me? I don't know how I managed to not run into anything here for a while, but once we did, Asado Desert gave us an Annihilate. Well, there's a perfectly good Zacian right there. Honestly, this thing was doing a lot of damage, and it got to a point where I needed to sack something. I've used Rockruff once before, and it's not all that, so I literally just sacked it. You see, my Primate died in my first Nuzlocke of this game, and I never got to use one of these. Thankfully, he didn't cross-chop Charmeleon, and after 2 Ultra Balls, we caught it. I named him Aizawa, and he had Leaf Guard? Sure, I guess. Oh, what are you looking at? You know, at first I thought this was a regular Diglett, but nope, it's an Alolan one. I named her Hagakure, and she had this ability. That is an insane ability. Too bad it's going to be stripped from us once she evolves. Speaking of which, it's in 1 level, so might as well. Yeah, this is just disappointing. Oh god, I did not expect that. What I do expect, though, is to whoop the living crap out of Mela. She starts off with a Froslass, which is perfect as I led Aizawa. This thing does have Draining Kiss, but it didn't do much, and I bulked up. From there, I terrestrialized into a pure Ghost type, taking another Draining Kiss, and I figure maybe Rain would stay up, but it didn't after killing Froslass. I did go for a Shadow Punch, but it didn't do much, so from there I went into Asui, who took a Blazing Torque. Don't know why she screeched, but she missed anyways, and we got a nice dive off. She kept doing her lame strat, but it doesn't matter. Asui has pretty much wrapped this fight up. Okay, we almost died to burn damage, but it's fine. We like to play a little risky here on the channel. Now thanks to Aizawa, the next Titan was super easy. Kofu is up next, and by the way, I won't be using Citrus Berries anymore, as this new randomizer doesn't have Pokemon holding items, so we can't actually get them anymore. On to Blue Bearded Man. He starts off with a Clodsire, and this fight might already be over, to be honest with you guys. Clodsire goes for Yawn, and turn 1 we bulk up. We wait out Sleep for 3 turns, and I was worried for a Poison on the Poison Jab, And lo and behold, he did get it, which is just my luck. We are at +3 at this point, so I terrestrialize into a ghost type, and a Shadow Punch destroys this chunky monster. Surprisingly, the channel mascot is up next, so trust me, Kofu. It really pains me to do this. You know, I was going to switch on the Hippowdon since a Shadow Punch or a Cross Chop doesn't kill. Hippowdon's defense is that good. However, I gave Aizawa an Adamant Mint I found, so yeah. This has a pretty good chance to KO. Let's risk it for the biscuit. Oh man, we didn't kill. Oh, thank God. Sandstorm. We gotta risk it, man. It's a Just Jules video. Well, that's the battle. Keep in mind that that thing had crunch. Before we fight Atticus, I wanted to get even more encounters. The team is great, but we're missing a lot of bulk. In East Paldean Sea, we came across a Palafin, which is pretty fitting for the name theme. Gang Orca was caught. Yes, I know it's a dolphin. And thank God it actually keeps its ability. I was kind of worried about that. The other Paldean Seas are a lost cause because most of the Pokemon just fall into the water and sink all the way down. So instead, I went to the Pokemon League. I ran into a Lycanroc twice while this thing was right next to it. And in the end, I ended up running into a Tinkaton. I know, Horsey. I wanted you to, even though I couldn't see you. I named her Yaoyorozu. She had Sand Rush, but I'm pretty sure that'll change. Now with Gang Orca on the team, I led him against Atticus. I used Flip Turn into Hagakure, and then went right back into our hero form on an Endure. Did you guys know that this thing gets bulk up? Like, holy crap. Once we're at +4, we can not only terrestrialize, but the rain is up too. Right, of course it runs out when we attack. But Vigoroth and Espathra both die to a big dive. By the way, I EV trained my Pokemon since now we can run into pretty much anything. And it's a good thing I did because... Dialga? Wait, Origin form? Oh man, I forgot it could terrestrialize. You know, even though that's resisted and this is a literal deity, that did a lot of damage. Just goes to show how strong Gang Orca is. That's why he's the number 10 hero. Oh yeah, and this rusty old machine didn't stand a chance either. Honestly, I don't know what I would have done if I didn't have Palafin there against that Dialga. After this fight, Shoto evolved into a Charizard, and man is this thing tiny. By the way, here are the EVs for my Pokemon, and I gave a Timid Mint I found to Charizard to make him a full-fledged special attacker. Now, I was able to do the same strat on Larry's Pokemon, but this Bramblegast actually has Disable. That's one clever hat trick. Thank God for Larry though, as this made me realize we weren't in our hero form yet. I switched into Morgrim, who can Light Screen, as Larry uses Phantom Force. On our switch in, we do take a big Phantom Force. I protect the next turn, which is bad, as it's still using the same move. And also, it doesn't even matter since Phantom Force goes through Protect. We get hit by it again, and we bulk up. I try to predict it again and bulk up once more, and then we can Protect when he attacks us. But again, I forgot it goes through Protect. Since Light Screen is up, I figured he'd go for a Disable again, so I finished it off with a +3 in defense and attack. From here, I dive as he uses Mega Drain, and there we go. Destroyed. Lilligant is up next, which could be scary, but I protected for health as he went for a Magical. This dive should be just on the money to KO. Finally, an Oricorio came out, and as soon as Gang Orca sees it's the fire one, he wastes no time and embarrasses Larry in front of the entire establishment. Man, is this Pokemon broken. I need a Legendary to put Orca in his place. Although the two that Nemona had couldn't stop the wrath of him. I mean, Yuxi did give it a noble attempt though, thanks to Articuno's Tailwind, and it turning into a water type. Endure also helps. Seriously, Nemona, it's over. Give up. You know, I was really looking forward to what ability Shinso would get, only to find out it was just anticipation. And let's just say Gale Wings on Tinkaton is, well, useless. Anyways, I fight Rhyme next, and yeah, I'm totally just done with this randomizer. Origin Palkia? Where's the regular one? And how did you get this, Rhyme? This Palkia has ancient powers, so I did switch into Aizawa, and of course I flip-turned Orca into Hagakure. It actually went for a Dragon Breath, and Hagakure definitely got ganged up on here. But no worries, because I am here! Now with a bulk up on Aizawa, a low kick was able to destroy this Palkia easy, and Gang Orca could still set up. Once that monster was gone, I hard switched into Shinso, who took a Metal Claw and a Flame Charge from her Pokemon. The following turn, I hard switch again into Shoto, and a dive connects on Ceruledge, knocking it out. Although her Effect Spore paralyzed us. Meloetta was her final Pokemon, and it was going to terrestrialize. I managed to burn it with Shoto, and on the final turn, a Flamethrower can take out Sneasel just after almost dying to Meloetta. And a dive can finally take care of Meloetta. Honestly, that was easier than I thought. Surprisingly, Orca couldn't finish off the Great Tusk without terrestrializing, so Shinso had to come in and wrap the fight up for him. As for the second fight, Orca did terrestrialize and did big damage to Donphan, but ultimately, since he's faster thanks to Rapid Spin, I ended up switching into Shoto for the final blow with Air Slash. Now before entering All for Nada, we can try and get another encounter. Maybe this time we can get a Legendary. Oh my god, it's a Heatran! Finally! I don't know how I just called that. We didn't quite catch it in our Ultra Balls, but our first Great Ball did the trick. I named her Endeavor and she had Steel Terra type. Oh, come on, Tangled Feet. Give me huge power or something. With our new Heatran, we can take on Nemona, and man, is this an unfair matchup. This was too. Now, Tynamo actually got a lot of hits off since we got paralyzed from Silly Cobra's Glare, but also Tynamo has wind power, so our Heat Wave didn't do anything. Yeah, maybe evolve your Pokemon, Nemona? Bro, this random has Iron Valiant. Luckily for us, he doesn't have any fighting type moves, and a Terra Blast can destroy this thing where it stands. Can't believe some random civilian was let access to Area 0. Speaking of more threats, Tulip leads Brawlhalla with a Galarian Articuno. It would have been dead to 2 crunches, but it had recovered. Also, it had static, so now we're paralyzed. Alright Tulip, I get it. You've been everywhere to get your hands, no pun intended, on really strong Pokemon. Fearing a fighting type move, I go into Aizawa. This thing can only hit me with Thunder Punch. I kinda forgot the Tailwind was up, so he outspeeds on our bulk up, and that did a lot. I figured one low kick might do it, but it just left it super weak, and after this turn, Tailwind is over, so now we can outspeed for the KO. I know I could kill Larvitar easy, but I went into Deku. Unfortunately, the little guy does do a lot of damage, so I went into our All-Star, and I don't know why, but I forgot I had Flip Turn, so I hard switched. Regardless, Orca came in on a Stone Edge that she missed, and our little hero can start powering up. Can you believe the little guy has Hyper Beam? Jeez, who are you, Ash? Evolve your Pokemon. Anyways, you all know what's coming. Goodbye, little guy. He is seriously going to need a good hospital for that. An Earthworm? No problem. Fire Terra type? Oh, you done effed up, Tulip. Wait, how did you live that? Oh, the Sandstorm knocked it out. Ha! Defeated by your own strat. Not gonna lie, you started off strong, but you should have kept exploring the world for some stronger Pokemon. Alright, Grusha is up next, and yes, and yes. I get it. You guys don't have to keep telling me. He's a dude. I think I got it after the million comments on my last video told me. But I mean, come on, I can't be the only one that made that mistake. Man, the fights have really winded down. She had a Sliggoo, and I thought this was a Mastiff, but apparently it's a Scovillain with Illusion, so that means her ace is Mastiff. And to make things worse, Surskit was up next. Yeah, honestly, nothing to see here. I was hoping Ortega would be a challenge, but he just led this all of Momola, and well, Orca can easily set up. That goes down in one shot, Nimble stands no chance, and a Rayquaza comes out. Okay, this could be seriously scary since it terastallizes, but it actually loses its Dragon type, so it's dead. Although, honestly, I'm sure that didn't even matter. Even the Starmobile gets put out of commission. Maybe I should have banned this thing. Crazy to think that the ability didn't randomize. Arvin, are you doing experiments like your dad? That's definitely not an Oranguru. The 2 Dragon Titans weren't too hard, however Aizawa almost died to Tatsugiri's Dragon Pulse. Everybody knows you can't put Aizawa down. No, I need the rain to evolve my Goomy! Oh, thank God it didn't go away. I was literally looking for an hour or so before this, and it wouldn't rain. With our new and improved Mina, I take on Ellie. I wanted to see if I can get a Gruger sweep off with Curse, and she led Wishcash, so it's definitely possible. I have Lefties and Protect on her as well to help. Of course though, a Crit Earthquake just destroyed the strat, so that's not happening. So of course you guys know what's coming up. I didn't want to do it to you, Ellie, but you've left me with no choice. I went into Charizard after this, and then she used Future Sight, so I went into Shinso on an Aqua Tail miss. Once that Future Sight is useless, I go into Gang Orca on a Muddy Water. Once we're at +3, which was a little risky thanks to that Future Sight, we Terastallize and die. So Protect won't dodge Future Sight, but apparently Dive still does. I didn't know that. So one Dive kills Wishcash, and she has this cute little Gibble. Who are you calling cute? I am. Okay, you are definitely cute. Okay, now we're talking. Unfortunately, Volcanion will Terastallize into a Water type, so this doesn't KO, and we got very lucky that a Scald didn't burn us. Phew! Looks like you wasted your time catching that thing, Aerie. Now this thing is still scary as Aerie always uses Shift Gear, and she did do it twice here as our dive doesn't quite kill. I was going to Protect to get more health back in case she attacked, but thank God I didn't, and instead I risked it and she used Shift Gear again. That's the battle. I wonder why the AI always clicks Shift Gear. You gotta attack eventually, Aerie, and I'm pretty sure I said this in my last run, or the run before that. I tried to find good encounters in some of the remaining areas, but I just couldn't. And before doing my blind encounter in Sokatrat Trail, I saw the shiny Steenie. I was like, wait, something's off with the color here. I was just thinking too, like, hey, it's been a while since I found a shiny. I named her Shiozaki and evolved her right away. She actually had a useful ability with Grassy Surge, and it's funny because as a Steenie, it had Natural Cure, which is also pretty fitting. With every gym, every Titan, and every star base taken care of, we can finally take on the Elite Four. I have no idea what they could have. They could have Iggly buffs, or they could have 5 Arceuses on their team. Whatever they have, I will beat them. Rika is up first with a cute little Dedenne. I wanted to see how Shiozaki would fare with Grass Terrain plus Max Attack plus Power Whip plus Terastallization. So let's see. Shiozaki, let's go plus Ultra. And a whopping crit for the KO. I honestly doubt it mattered. Okay, she curse-bodied our Power Whip. Well, the good news is her next 2 Pokemon were Ice types, and her Abomasnow set up Misty Terrain anyways. Happiny is also weak to High Jump Kick. Toxapex is her ace, but I fear a Poison move, and I don't think we could kill since Grassy Terrain isn't up, so I go into Endeavor, who is immune. Would you look at that? It has Rock Terra. Shiozaki definitely could have KO'd. Maybe. After hitting it with an Earth Power, I go back into Shiozaki, who tanks a Liquidation, and a single Drop Kick can finish our first Elite Four battle. Serena with Grassy Terrain is pretty fun. We're not looking so good for the next fight, as she did lead a Staraptor, so I immediately go into Endeavor fearing a Flying type move, but nope, Final Gambit. Come on, buddy. Okay, that was scary. Goldengo is her second Pokemon, and I have an Assault Vest on Shoto, so I swapped them in on a Shadow Ball. The only way I can KO Goldengo from full with Shoto is to Terrasilize, so we do, and there we go. We melted the piece of gold. I'm assuming that's how Poppy is going to pay me when she loses. In fact, I'm counting on it. Get it? Counting? Gold? Coins? Gimme ghoul? No? Okay. For Finneon, I went into Shiozaki on a Tailwind of all things. I went for a Drop Kick, but it also has Bounce. What? It didn't do much, but we did get paralyzed. I mean, my bounce luck is crazy with paralysis. I did stay in for her Dedenne, as it just went for entertainment, and just like last time, Curse Body will disable Power Whip. Now I thought regular Raichu was coming out, but nope, looks like Poppy went on a trip to the Alola region. I figured this thing's moveset was terrible, and it works out that it Terrastallized into a Dark type as I clicked High Jump Kick. Sorry Poppy, but hand over the corpse of Goldangle. Now. Larry brings the heat with Volcanion at the front of his party. I mean, with how busy Larry is, I can't believe he had time to catch a legendary. Believe it or not, a Power Whip with Grassy Terrain up and Terrastallization has a chance to kill here, but alas, this was his health bar. I mean, come on. Still very impressive on Shiozaki's side. Luckily, we did live and Incinerate at half. This also has a chance to kill Quilava from full as well, but it didn't matter as we ended up getting a crit, so that's why you should never play around a crit. Just kidding, don't be like me just for content. He does have a Bascu Legion, and a Drop Kick will kill, so I use that instead since it's 100% accurate. Poor Smoliv. Never even stood a chance. His 8 is a Greedent, and I did swap out, as Shiozaki won't one-shot this thing. Okay, it definitely would have thanks to it being an Ice type now. Whoops. Regardless, Aizawa can finish this fight right up. Go do some paperwork, Larry. I'm having way too much fun with Serena right now, so I just kept the streak going. Aw, a little Fuecoco. And we're weak to it. Die. Honestly, Hassel, I'm sure the other Elite Four members told you about my tiny Serena, but I'm inevitable, buddy. Gumshoes, you're making this too easy for her. What else you got? Okay, we're definitely getting outsped, but let's see the damage. Hassel, choose another profession. Oh, come on, a Cyclizar? Let's hope he picks a typing that will let us KO. Oh, perfect. And I didn't actually use High Jump Kick. Adios, Hassel. Now there's one thing left to prove we're the champion. Let's all pray that Gita has a team that will put up a fight. Well, we know off the bat Dondozo is definitely dead. By the way, can we get a round of applause for Shiozaki hitting all of her moves so far? Like, I know we have a wide lens on her, but seriously. Another Dondozo? Gita, what the hell? No, not a Young Goose. Quilladin. Alright, this is just a joke. Was the entire Elite Four made for Serena to sweep? Oh, come on, just Ice Fang me or something. I'm giving you the chance, Gita. A Fido. Gita, I don't know how you did it, but you managed to make a team worse than your original team. I know it's the end of the battle, but it can't get any worse, can it? Water-type Fido? I'm done, I quit. You make me want to retire my channel right now. Seriously, get me off this, I don't even want the champion title. Moving forward to the after fights, Clive was going well, with Shiozaki taking out his first 3 Pokemon, but everything changed when Rayquaza attacked. This monster is 4 times resisted, so I do have to switch. I thought about this for a while, and it does have E-Speed, so I went into Shoto, who has Queen Majesty, but Rayquaza just went for a Dragon Pulse. Thankfully though, I do still have the Assault Vest on him. I figure our best bet is to just do as much damage as possible to this thing. Now I did risk Shoto's life since Rayquaza does a lot of damage, and maybe it had a chance to use E-Speed, but it actually went for Rest. Since it's asleep, I go into Mina for free and we basically win here. 2 Dragon Pulses take it out. Come on, director, you're literally the director of a Pokemon school. His last 2 Pokemon were no match for Mina and her Acid. I wish Guja was part poison. Arvin, I don't mean to interrupt your sadness, but it's raining, bro. Hurry up and get inside. Alrighty, Arvin starting off strong with a Gothitelle. That's gone. Whoa, a curveball. Iron Bundle with Supreme Overlord. Arvin, you idiot, you should have saved this thing in the back. By the way, guys, I thought I was ruined here, but I had no idea the little guy was part water type. Now, as long as he doesn't crit, we should be fine. And he doesn't with Ice Beam, so 1 Trop Kick can take Delibird out. Scary, but worth it. Unfortunately, his 3rd Pokemon isn't Quaquaval, but his Prevo. It did intimidate us, though. Of course, it doesn't matter for this Pokemon, but it does for Persian. I go ahead and go into Aizawa, who can then start bulking up. Apparently, Loathing Persian gets play rough, so eventually that did do some damage. But anyways, we use Low Kick. I could have used Close Combat at the start, but who knows what was coming next. Oh, a Diancie. Not good. Just kidding, at +2, a Close Combat is just enough to KO. And for his final Pokemon, it's a Ditto, who terrestrialized into a normal type. Wow, that was just pathetic, bro. Now it's time for Penny, and I actually benched Shiozaki because it was nearing the level cap, and it looked like it worked out as Avalugg was her lead. So you guys already know what's about to go down. Once we're all set up on Gang Orca, Avalugg can immediately bite the dust. Speaking of dust, her next Pokemon was Zarude, and it had Sandstream. This is scary as Zarude is definitely living a move due to it being a grass type, but I know it's an attacker, so once we dive doing so much to her, her Energy Ball only does half to us. 1 more dive and that's a big threat for Palafin down. Penny is not done with surprises though, as her next Pokemon was Rotom. Please don't let it be Rotom Wash, please don't let it be Rotom Wash, please don't... Yeah, it's Rotom Wash. So I looked up its moveset, and it gets Discharge and Substitute right now. I was like, okay, if somebody was controlling this thing on the other end, the smart thing to do would be to substitute on Gang Orca as we dive, and then the following turn they would take damage on the sub and just attack with Discharge, taking out me, the hugest threat on my team. But I was like, there's no way simple AI is going to do that. It's not that smart. It's 100% going to Discharge. Play by play, this thing set up a substitute, took damage the next turn on the sub, and retaliated with a big Discharge, finally ruining the god of my team. I mean, I wasn't even upset. I literally clapped in respect. I respect the game, the AI, Penny's AI, for that so much. I will happily take that death. Good job, Penny. From here, I went into Endeavor, and Earth Power will straight up kill, but this thing's Uproad was super effective against us. What ability is doing that? Diglett was out next, and you'd think it wouldn't be scary, but it is. It's actually faster than us, so it could kill us here. So I switched into Shoto on an Earth Power, which we're immune to, and from there, a Flamethrower melts the little guy away. As for her Vigoroth, I went into Aizawa on a counter. Vigoroth only has Throat Chop to hit us with, as the other moves are fighting type moves, so we set up to +6, and both Vigoroth and her Hypno die to a close combat. Penny, aside from the Diglett, it wasn't a terrible team. Respect. And you took out one of the biggest starts on my team. Now let's see what Nemona's got. It looks like Serena's time to shine is over, so I went into Mita for Breaksin. I started setting up curses, but it sucked because I couldn't get burned by Fire Blast. This would have activated Guts, making a physical attacking Goodra viable. I mean, even at +6, a Body Slam won't kill a Breaksin. Seriously, Mina? Oh well, we tried. From here, Dratini got bodied by a Dragon Pulse, and for Cubchoo, I switched into Aizawa on a Sheer Code, which thank god it missed. Okay, maybe I spoke too soon. I tried bulking up, and it hit. Nemona, you can eat my... Like, who even hits Sheer Codes like that? I'm not gonna lie, I'm pretty sad about that one, but yeah, whatever. Anyways, now Shiozaki can high jump kick that, and Grafaiai comes out. Of course, I can't stay in here, so Endeavor comes in on a ton of all things, and 1 Earth Power. What? Endeavor, this is why you're the #2 hero. Alright, who told Nemona about my Serena strat? Toxtricity can't live a single Earth Power to no one's surprise, and Miss Magus is her ace. Honestly, might as well stay in here, and it looks like this thing's a grass type. I did Terra Blast, but it used Phantom Force anyways. So from there, we take a Phantom Force and Heat Wave for loads of damage. Apparently the ghost has mystical fire, and since we're pure steel type now, it did a chunk, and of course I missed a big heat wave since Grafii knocked my wide lens off. Might as well get Shinso here in for some action since I don't want to risk a crit, and look at that. A crit. Oh wow, it actually has magical leaf for stab with its Terra type. But yeah, a spirit break can finally win us the battle. It's crazy how I have to do all this story for an hour just to fight some lady that might end up having a Wooper on her team. Kubfu. That's not a good sign for things to come. Now, I really shouldn't be wasting my Terra type so early on, but I can't help it. Okay, so far so good. And there it is, ladies and gents, Slitherwing. The good thing here is we have Shoto, whose Air Slash demolishes this thing. And we're back to the weak Pokemon. All the Pokemon in Area 0, and you managed to do nothing with them. Oh look, a Raichu. Woohoo! It would be a shame if I just went into Endeavor and die! Okay, I may have forgot that Flaffy set up a light screen beforehand. And this mouse also did before dying. Well, at least her ace isn't terribly bad. I went into Shoto to get the KO, but Magearna actually has shift gear at this level. This is definitely scary, especially since light screen is up. We're almost there, and it used it 3 times. You're an AI for crying out loud. Use a move! Hit me! What are you doing shift gearing 4 times? Are you trying to fix yourself, Sada? Alright, that was kind of a letdown for a boss fight, but hey, this run was still super fun. I mean, I really had no idea Serena would put in as much work as it did this late into the game. And we even got to use some Pokemon we normally wouldn't be able to use, like Charizard, a Alolan Dugtrio, and even Heatran. All in all, this was an amazing run to do, and this would be pretty cool to do with only shiny Pokemon. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments, like the video if you enjoyed. Thank you if you made it this far, and I will see you all next time. Bye!